Hey guys, what is going on? Jurgen from ZurGrinoSports here, and today I'm coming at you with the 2021 Fastlane review video on the channel. Before we get into it, let me know what you guys thought of Fastlane down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Leave me your rating out of 10 because I'm going to give you one at the end of the video. And yeah, man. Also, quick little plug for the old Discord, link in the description. There's a watch along channel that we watch along in, so a couple of the members of the Discord watched along. I was in there. We memed about the wrestling while it was happening. We talked a little bit after the show, and then yeah, man. So if you wanna join in on that, link in the description to that. Twitter's in the description as well. So yeah, man, I'm chewing gum right now. So I'm going to take the gum out of my mouth so I can actually speak normally and it doesn't get picked up on the mic. Okay, so Fastlane 2021, kind of a mixed show because at the beginning it was kind of rough and then at the end it kind of like got better. Depending on if you like Fiend and Alexa stuff and Randy stuff, it got better. If you don't like that stuff, then it was, I feel like, kind of poor until the main event. But if you do like that stuff, then it kind of had a good second half. But we started things off with Riddle and Mustafa Ali on the pre-show for the United States Championship. Riddle retained the championship clean. I wasn't watching this match intentively. Intentively? What? Is that a word? I wasn't like actively watching the match. I just kind of had it on in the background while I was getting ready for the pay-per-view. But what I think the finish was a top rope or like a middle rope bro Derek for a clean title retention. Then Retribution helps Ali up. Ali kind of berates them and he's like, yo, you failed me again. This wasn't me. This was you. Reckoning gets out of line. So Mia Yim. And then he's like, what are you doing? Get back in line. She's like, bitch, bye. Leaves the ring. And then he turns around into Slapjack leaving where he tries to stop Slapjack. He's like, Slapjack, getting back in line. You're nothing without me. Hit Slapjack leaves. And then T-Bar and Mace do their double choke slam on Mustafa Ali, seemingly bringing an end to Retribution. So there you go. Retribution is donezo right there. A little bit bummed that Ali didn't get the U.S. title, but I mean, in the long run, Retribution breaking up is a good thing. Mia Yim gets to go back into the women's division, so you get more fresh faces in the women's division, more fresh matchups. You can add another tag team into the tag division with Mason T-Bar or Dijak and Brennan, right? Something like that is his name. Right? Something like that. I don't know. The guy who's Mace, Slapjack can go into kind of being a jobber, but as Shane Thorne again, maybe, or put him back to NXT. I don't know. And then Ali can hopefully go on to bigger and better things. So, yeah, man, Retribution breaking up, probably a good thing. They booked him like shit. You know what I mean? They're like, yo, here's this big fucking intimidating faction, and then they're going to lose every match they have for 6 months. Wow, why aren't you scared of them? Because they can't fucking win. But, yeah. I'm sure the match quality was good. I honestly, I don't know how much time they were given because, again, I wasn't really paying attention to the pre-show. Because I don't typically pay attention to the pre-show, but I'm sure if they were given time, it would have been good. I liked the finish because Mustafa Ali, I think, was in control. Then he went and motioned to Retribution at ringside. He's like, watch this, I'm going to finish it. And then that kind of gave Riddle a chance to kind of reverse what he was doing. Then they somehow got caught up in the ropes. And then I think Riddle like deadlifted, hit him up from the ground for the bro Derek from the, you know what I mean? Like, I caught the finish, but yeah. So that's what happened on the pre-show. Riddle retains the U.S. Championship. And then we had the women's tag titles to start off the proper show. The match quality was whatever. I mean, it's Nia Jax. The portions of the match with Shayna in there, you know what I mean? Good, because Shayna's good. The portions of the match with Nia, Let's move on. So, the finish was ridiculously stupid. The finish was so fucking dumb. Sasha had Shayna in the bank statement. Bianca gets into the ring to stop Nia from breaking up the submission, right? And now I'll explain. So Sasha, the way that she has the bank statement in on Shayna, her and Shayna are like looking into the hard cam, pretty much that direction, right? Looking into us as the viewer from the hard cam, right? Nia is on the near side as the tag in part, and then Bianca and Shayna are the far corner. So near corner, bottom right corner is the tag champs. Top left corner is Sasha and Bianca, right? So Bianca comes from the top left where she is to stop Nia coming from the bottom right. Nia pushes Bianca onto Sasha to break up the submission. Sasha gets up. She's like, what the fuck? What are you doing? And then Bianca's like, she pushed me. And then she's like, well, blah, 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 blah. They get confused. They start arguing. Shayna rolls up Sasha for the win. And then Nia like holds up Bianca while she's on the apron, because she had gotten back onto the apron as they were arguing to prevent her from going in and breaking up the pin. They retain. They, argue furthermore after the match. Sasha did one of those like pushing your finger into somebody's foreheads thing, and then slapped the shit out of Bianca, who sold the slap really well, credit to her. Got out of the ring, and then Bianca in the ring was like, oh, you really just did that. Okay, at Mania, you'll get it. At Mania, you're about to get it. So, the finish was just so stupid because, like, I said this in the Discord, another plug for the Discord. If somebody is turned away, right? Like, let's say I have a chair and I'm going to hit somebody and they duck and I hit somebody in the back. I didn't mean to do it. And they won't know that because they got hit in the back. They didn't see what happened. That's fine. That sort of confusion, it makes sense because logically you just got hit. You're going to be pissed off. You're going to be like, what'd you just hit me? I see the chair in your hand, whatever. When you are looking at somebody and they push somebody into you, and then you get mad at the person who got pushed into you like they did it on purpose, that makes you look like a fucking moron, and that's what happened. So not only do they make Sasha look like an idiot in terms of how she reacted to the situation, they also had her take a loss. She took a loss at Chamber, and then she took a loss now at Fastlane. And then Bianca, but she took a loss a couple weeks ago on SmackDown. Oh, but don't worry, Sasha needed outside interference to retain against Nia, so she's still strong. You're booking this like shit, man. This great match with these two great people that's going to be like so good for the future of the company and culturally important and all these things. It's just so much potential for such a great moment at Mania, such a great match at Mania. And your idea of booking it is a male wine servant is going to be the driving force of the feud, cause everybody to lose matches so they don't look strong, either competitor. And then, you know what I mean? And like, okay, if it's like low card, like second match of WrestleMania stuff, fine, because there's nothing on the line there. It's just a personal feud. Wins and losses don't matter as much in a personal feud because it's a personal feud. It's a personal issue. You're just going to keep wrestling until it's resolved, right? That's fine. For the championship, both people just going in on losing streaks. Why? Like, brother, man, awful finish for that match. The match was okay at best because, again, Nia Jax was in it. There was some Reggie stuff, but nothing that affected the finish, really. So, yeah, man, awful finish. Say what you want to say about the decision. You could have said that Bianca and Sasha winning the titles is the better call. You could have said that them retaining the title. Like, and it's just, there was no, like, Sasha kind of turned heel with the slap, but at the same time, she didn't fully turn heel, so we don't really know. But like, if she would have turned heel, attacked Bianca mid-match, and then whatever, it's kind of passable because then you make it a little bit personal and whatever. But that's not what happened. It was a distraction roll-up. The SmackDown Women's Champion it's just not good build. It's just not good build, and the finish was so stupid, man. We had a quick little Elias and Shane backstage segment. Personally, I would have put the tag titles on Bianca and Sasha. You don't have tag teams in that division to have a match for those titles at Mania anyways, so just say fuck it, put them on both of those people, of those competitors, of those championship competitors for the SmackDown Women's title, and then go in for that because you don't have tag teams. So who fucking cares, bruh? And then you could do Shayna and Nia and have Shayna win and put her over like you should have done last year, but whatever. But anyways, We had an Elias and Shane backstage thing. They said some shit. With the promos and stuff backstage, I honestly don't really know what was said for the most part because, like I said, once again, Discord plug, I was in the watch-along chat, so the commentary and stuff like that I didn't really hear too well, but I just watched the matches. So yeah, they had something about Elias wanting to show Shane his talents or something like that, I think was the gist of it. Shane, by the way, so after not putting the Shane Braun match on the website on .com for the match preview, for the match card, right? After not doing that, then on the pre-show, they were like, hey, Shane fucked his knee. He's not wrestling tonight, maybe. Check on the pay-per-view to see. And then, they come out later and we'll see it. It's just like... Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Then we had Biggie versus Apollo for the Intercontinental title. Yet another fucked finish. The match itself, I really enjoyed up until the finish. They were beating the fuck out of each other. There was hatred and animosity in the offense, which there should be because this has become a personal feud. Up until the finish, loved it. Then the finish came, and I understand what they're doing. It's just they should have done it a different way. In my preview video, not to toot my own horn, I said they should do a double countout. I thought that would be a good idea because that way you can go to Mania, do a big blow-off stipulation match like an I Quit, and then have that at Mania, bada boom, bada bing. But what they ended up doing was a roll-up from Big E to like Apollo, right? And then the ref counted 1-2, and then Apollo like reversed it so that both people's shoulders were down, but the ref counted to 3 anyways, even though she should have restarted the count because it's a new count because 2 sets of shoulders are down. And then she awarded the win to Big E, who didn't get to celebrate because Apollo immediately attacked him after the match, hit him with like 2 or 3 angle slams. Apollo had some good German supla bebes in there. He had like a triple German supla bebe. He had some good shit in there that I popped for. His moveset's good, my guy. I love Apollo. And I love, like, his moveset's always been good, and he's always been like a good in-ring guy. He was always just missing that character thing, and it's just with the Nigerian descendant royalty stuff, it's clicking. It's so good, in my opinion, at least. I know some people online still don't like it, but I feel like at that point you just don't like Apollo. It's not about the gimmick. I feel like you just don't like him. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people's criticisms about Apollo was, oh, he doesn't have a character. He doesn't have a character. He doesn't have a character. He develops a very good character, and I've seen the same people who said that with a character he'd be good say, oh, Apollo has this weird new thing. It's not very good. No, it's very good. You just don't like Apollo, I feel like. But anyways, that's besides the point. Anyways, again, the match was great until the finish, but the finish was so weird. And I know that they're going to go on SmackDown. Apollo's going to be like, hey, listen, I got screwed, brother, because see, both our shoulders were down. She didn't restart the count. It should have been a draw, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And they might actually try and pawn it off as a draw because maybe the ref made a mistake and raised Big E's hand or pointed to Big E for the win. Accidentally when she should have pointed to both for a draw. I don't know. We'll see on SmackDown how they come out of this, but just do like a count out. Just do a table spot, which granted they couldn't do because they only have the one announced table and they needed it for a later spot, which was very good. But just have a barricade spot. Just have them crash through the barricade or something and then just can't make it back for the 10 count. And then boom, there you go. You know what I mean? Apollo says, hey, you didn't beat me. I still am owed a shot. Big E says, hey, I still have unfinished business. I didn't beat you. I didn't finish you. I need to finish you. I said a pin isn't enough. Let's do something big. I quit, blah, blah, blah. Let's go. I just really want an I quit match. Between the two. I think it would be really good. But yeah, the match was great up until the finish, and then the finish just kind of fell flat and ruined it. And again, I get what they're doing. They're doing the non-finish, not clear winner so they can advance it. And I agree with that. There shouldn't have been a clean finish here, a clean winner. There shouldn't have been. But you should have done the count-out draw. Because that doesn't make people go like, was that a botch? If people have to think it's a botch, it's probably not a good finish. You know what I mean? Unless it was actually a botch, then whatever. But like, if that was intended to look like a botch, which I think the intention was, hey, let's do this finish and make it look like a botch, I feel like that's not a good thing. If people think it's a botch, it's not a good finish, in my opinion. So, yeah, man, the title not changing hands and there being a weird finish, I agree with. It's just the way that they did it was so shit. And the match was great until then, but the finish kind of ruined the match. So, yeah, they had this weird Old Spice thing with Rick Boogs, I think, from NXT, pawning Old Spice to people, and then Tozawa was looking for Truth, who was hiding in the Old Spice, and then he broke out, and like he lost the 24/7 title to Rick Boogs, and then won it back from Rick Boogs, stealing some Old Spice while running away. Something like that. I don't fucking know, brother. I don't even know if that's the guy's name. I think it is. I think I've seen it on Twitter, but yeah, just a throwaway thing backstage. They probably got a big old bag from Old Spice to do that. Then Elias was in the ring, starting to do his concert. Then Shane's like, oh, by the way, you're my replacement. You're taking my place. And then Elias is like, what? Braun comes out. Braun versus Elias. Clean win for Braun. Fairly straightforward. Fairly short match. Not a great match because of how short it was, but not an awful match. It wasn't like it was like a botch fest or slow or anything. It was sloppy. It was solid. It was clean. It was all that good shit. Here's a big problem, right? So Strowman comes down to the ring, beats Elias, wins the match, and then that's it. He doesn't come down and at the start of the match yell out to Shane, oh, you're faking your injury, you don't want to fight me, blah, 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 I'm going to kill him like I'm going to do to you when I get my hands on you, blah, blah, blah. Like he probably should. He just goes in there, does the match, and leaves. Why? Why wouldn't he be upset that Shane is ducking him? He literally fucking slimed you like you're on a Nickelodeon kid show. You were fucking grappling, hooking down fucking like Titantrons and shit and flipping over 18-wheelers and killing Roman Reigns in an ambulance and surviving a fucking dump truck assault death thing. Like, you used to be this guy that's like this fucking unstoppable beast, and some fucking 60-year-old executive is getting the upper hand on you clean. And you're not mad at the pay-per-view. You're just like, oh, I'll just beat Elias. Yeah, cool beans, brother. All right, take it easy. See you on Monday, Shane. What the fuck? What? Like, this is an awful rivalry, man. This is an awful fucking rivalry, bro. It's just shit, man. Braun beating Elias is absolutely the right call, but like, fuck, man. Fuck. They had this weird Riddle and Shinsuke backstage thing where Riddle wished Shinsuke luck and then started talking about scooters and started talking about something, and then the camera panned in on Riddle while he was talking about his shit because he's a stoner and that's his whole gimmick. And then Shinsuke left and he's like, oh, where'd you go? Oh, probably to get your own scooter. That's smart. He rides off, and then Shinsuke comes out from like behind the wall and he's like, whew, glad I got rid of him. And then we had Shinsuke versus Seth Rollins, which was a very good match. Simple as, there was a really cool spot where Seth went for like a kick and Shinsuke ducked under it. So Seth went to kick with his right foot, but his left foot got caught on Shinsuke because Shinsuke was kneeling. His left foot got caught on Shinsuke's like thigh and like where his hip is. It got caught in there, and then he kind of like went back and kicked the back of his head, like following back. Right? It was a really cool spot to think of. At some point in the match, Seth tried to swing Shinsuke. Throughout the match, Seth would be screaming like 22 times, whatever. Seth had something on the pre-show, I think, where he called himself Seth Drippin' Rollins, which I popped for because that's actually funny, where he said like Shinsuke wanted to stand up for his friend because, you know, Cesaro can't stand up for himself right now. Ha, ha, ha. And then they got decent time. They had a good match, and Rollins won clean. So, yeah, man, keeping him strong. So hopefully he puts over Cesaro clean at WrestleMania. That'd be great, Vince. Don't fuck it up, please. Thank you. But yeah, man. So yeah, then we got a good old Drew versus Sheamus. These guys got a lot of time. These guys had a lot of freedom to do whatever the fuck they want. Drew had some like Scottish themed war paint over his face, which I thought was a nice touch. There was a cool spot where they went into the Thunderdome like virtual fans area, and Sheamus got put through some screens, and then there was a screen explosion. which, as was pointed out in the Discord call, was better than AEW's Explosion Deathmatch thing that went on. But yeah, there was a cool explosive spot. Sheamus did a white noise from like the crowd onto the announce table, which was really fucking cool. The finish came, so eventually Sheamus brought one of the side pieces of the announce table into the ring, and then he was going to like put Drew onto it. Drew does a future shock onto it, then goes into the corner, Claymore 1, 2, 3, beats Sheamus clean. So they didn't do the route of inserting Sheamus through a win here. They just got Drew the clean victory. So why not have made it a number one contender if that was the plan all along, brother? Imagine this match with false finishes like the white noise, right? It wasn't a false finish because the ref didn't count and there was no kick out of a count. But like, imagine all these big spots that they did with something on the line, with you thinking, oh shit, is WWE going to fuck it up and give it to Sheamus? You know what I mean? Because WWE fucks everything up. So you always are worried that like, oh shit, are they going to fuck up the logical booking here? And it's like, so... Yeah, man. But I mean, Drew gets a strong win. No Lashley at all on the show, which kind of bothered me a little bit. I would have liked it if he would have been commentary for the match or something like that. I think that could have been cool. But evidently Lashley was not on the show despite being the champion of the company. So good shit. Unless you consider the Universal title the title, but then that kind of... Yeah, whatever. Great match. Beat the shit out of each other. They had welts on their back. They fucking were bruised all over. Fucking incredible match. Really, really loved it. Great match. Then we had, so that's what I'm talking about with like the first half being kind of weak with, the tag titles and then the Biggie and Apollo finish and then Braun versus Elias for whatever reason with Braun just going along with it. Then we go to Shinsuke and Rollins who had a good match. It wasn't as good of a match that you'd expect because, the whole thing with Shinsuke, I guess that people have noticed is if he's not 100% interested in what he's doing in the ring or in the program, he doesn't really go all out in the match and you can tell that he doesn't care as much. So there's a limit to his matches when he's not very, very interested, right? Which is unfortunate. But, I mean, it was still a good match. It wasn't as good as I thought it would have been, but it was still a good match. They still got a good time. I'm happy with it. Drew versus Sheamus was very, very good. So, like I'm saying, the second half is strong. Then we get to Alexa and Randy. I liked it. Well, one part I didn't like because it was something that they did on Raw that I hated at the time because it was kind of weird, but we'll get to it in a second here. I like the Alexa and Randy stuff and hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, fiend stuff that happened. I know a lot of people don't like it point blank, period. So if you're one of those people, whatever. If you don't like it, that's you. I like it. I'm gonna talk about it because I like it. So, Alexa versus Randy happens. Randy is making his entrance. He goes onto the turnbuckles to do his pose, and he starts coughing up the black liquid from his mouth. He goes, gets a towel, wipes his mouth, and then he's pissed off. He's upset, and he's waiting for Alexa. Alexa makes her entrance. She gets in the ring. She turns on the pink lights when she's in the ring. She's in the corner. Randy's in the opposite corner. Randy starts to charge at her. Boom, wall of fire shoots up. And then... You know what I mean? Wall of fire shoots up. He's like, what the fuck? She's like, haha, got him. Then he runs at her in the corner. She moves. He does that thing where you spear the corner post, which I've always thought, like, I never want to take that because, like, there was the one time in WCW, right? I don't know if it was a shoot or if it was, a work, where Goldberg speared the turnbuckle and he got, like, paralyzed for a bit. Again, I don't know if that was a work, but I don't think Goldberg, honestly, is as good of a seller to make that as a work. So I think that was a shoot. I never want to do that if I'm a wrestler. You know what I mean? Because, like, that's just like, oh, that's your fucking shoulder. That's your fucking collarbone right into that metal. Granted, it's not metal. It's the screens now because they have the electronic ones. But, like, back in the day, it was just pure metal. Fuck, I'd never want to take one of those. I'm sure there's a safe way to take, not a safe way, but like a way to protect yourself enough to take it. Maybe you don't actually hit it with your shoulder. You just slap it when you, like, kind of get there and then kind of mimic it. Maybe that's what they do. I don't know. But, maybe Vince will ban that next after the thigh slaps. But yeah. So anyways, he goes out to the ring. Alexa goes out with him and she's like, hey, get zoinked Scoob, and then he kind of slowly chases her around the ring. They're on the part of the ring that, like, to the left of the ring where the ramp comes down. They walk down, they walk across, they walk back up, and then at the top, on the far side of the hard cam, they go over, and then they're kind of face to face over there. She looks up, and then the lights come crashing down like a light fixture. Comes crashing down, and then they get into the ring. He chases her down again in the corner. This time she shoots a fireball. This is the thing I didn't like. I didn't like it when they did it on Raw. I didn't like it now when she shot a fireball from her hand at his forehead or whatever. It kind of missed this time because he didn't sell it like he was fucking the player you play as in TNA after those Mexican cartel guys beat you down or some shit or whatever the fuck the story was. I actually don't remember. The last time I played that game was when it came out in like 2007 or whatever it was. But you know how in that game you're like in the hospital wrapped up in bandages, you know what I mean? And then he had that weird luchador mask. Yeah, he didn't have to sell it like that, but whatever. Then as he's getting up from that, he's like, oh fuck, the ring cracks open. A burnt hand comes up from the ring, grabs Randy's ankle, and the Fiend emerges from the ring. Randy is there, mesmerized. He's like, how is this possible? What the fuck? I thought I got rid of you. How are you here? What the fuck? So they're looking at each other, staring. Alexa then runs, pushes Randy into Fiend. Sister Abigail, boom. And then Alexa pins Randy in an unconventional way. I mean, she got in cowgirl and pinned him essentially. And after the 1, 2, 3, she stayed in cowgirl, sitting on his lap, while Fiend stood there ominously. And yeah, man, I wouldn't understand why the pin was like that. Why not just pin him normally or just sit maybe higher up on his like stomach or something? I don't know why you're sitting in cowgirl on him for the pinfall in a wrestling match. Couple problems with this logistically. It was not officially a no DQ match, so Fiend getting involved by grabbing Randy's ankle and then hitting the Sister Abigail should have caused a disqualification. You could tell the story that the ref was terrified, so he didn't call anything, and then he just called the 1, 2, 3. You could tell that it's feasible in some regard, but just at the end of the day, logistically, it doesn't match up with the rules, so that is a downside to this. In terms of the Fiend's new look, I love the new mask. I love the new burnt hands and gloves. I don't like the vest. It looks like a treasure chest a little bit that you'd see in like medieval times, kind of like in The Witcher 3. So I don't like the vest that he has on, but besides that, I like the burnt arms, I like the burnt gloves, I like the burnt face, and I like the new burnt Fiend look. I don't know if I'm too happy about the whole version of the Fiend, like the whole repackaging or whatever being revealed right now. I don't know how hot I am on that, because I think maybe it could have been a good reveal for Mania, unless we get like a healed new Bray or Fiend at Mania. Maybe like we get a healed him where he's recovered from the burns or whatever. Because like, is he just going to be burned Fiend for like the rest of eternity, or is he going to go back to old Fiend once he's recovered? I really don't know. So yeah, man, and like they could make it different and have him as a healed new repackaged Fiend at WrestleMania, and then that way you still have a big reveal at Mania. But we'll have to wait and see for that one. But I liked it for the most part. I didn't like the fireball. The wall of fire coming up at the start, I'm fine with it. The lights being coming down, I'm fine with it. The fireball I didn't like I said. Fiend coming out of the ring, I really liked. I liked his look besides his vest, because again, it looks like a treasure chest a little bit, which I didn't really like too much. But like the rest of it, I liked. So for me personally, as somebody who is a fan of this feud, even though it has gotten repetitive without Fiend there, because it's been Randy's in the main event, Alexa screws him. Randy's in the main event, Alexa screws him. You know what I mean? It's been a lot of that, unfortunately. But hopefully now with Fiend back for these next 3 weeks until Mania, they can keep it fresh these next 3 weeks, and then we move on from this, and then Fiend goes on to somebody else. I don't know who, but somebody. Maybe Drew, because... Oh, no, but Drew's winning the title back at Mania, isn't he? Shit, brother. Who else has fucked over? Undertaker, right? But Undertaker would be a good Mania match for a cinematic. You wouldn't want to do that just to throw away. I don't know. But yeah, as somebody who's liking this stuff, but beyond shooting the fireball out of her hand again, I liked all of it except for the chest, the vest that he was wearing. Except for that again, but that's not a big deal. It's just. Yeah, so I was a fan of that. If you're not a fan of that stuff in general, you probably wouldn't have liked that whole segment either. So, sucks to suck. But, for somebody who is a fan of that stuff, I thought it was good besides the fireball and the vest, like I said. So, the second half of Fastlane has been good for me. Obviously, as a match, it's a non-match, right? It's there to advance the story. Did you really expect a technical masterclass between Randy and Alexa Bliss, though? Like, sometimes when people complain about matches not being, like, a big fucking, like, really good match that's actually technical and stuff like that, you have to consider the booking going in, right? Because if you were sitting there for Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton, and non-ironically you were there like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good match, give them 20 minutes, oh, rest holds, oh, this and that, nice technical reversals and stuff like that, you're delusional, right? Point blank. It's the same with when they did Firefly Bray versus Miz. If you were expecting in that match, whenever that happened, I can't remember when exactly, but whenever that happened, if you were expecting, these reversals and these intricate, psychologically advanced matches and stuff like that, you're expecting the wrong thing. You're going in looking to be disappointed because that's never what's going to happen. And I think that's the case with this match because a lot of people will jump to shit on it and be like, oh, it was a shit match, they did this and that. The match wasn't there to be a match. The match was there to advance the rivalry, to advance the story. And that's needed sometimes. And I think for what it needed to accomplish, it was good. Granted, again, it should have been a DQ logistically, so I don't know how, if they're going to explain that at all. I don't really know if maybe it was a traditional match at all or if it was like a non-sanctioned match and they just didn't mention it. I don't really know. But logistically, the DQ should have happened. I'll look past it just because... they've had... it's whatever. Whatever, man. Wrestling's there to be enjoyed. I like being an asshole about it. I like critiquing it. I like saying when they did shit wrong, in my opinion, how I would have done it better. At the end of the day, wrestling's there for entertainment. Sometimes you do have to overlook stuff, but just, again, logistically, the DQ should have happened, so I guess I don't like that. And then on top of the vest and the shooting the fireball thing. But anyways, moving on. I liked it. There we go. There. I liked it personally. Bryan versus Roman for the Universal title. This was like 35-40 minutes, man, because I checked the time when the Fiend Alexa stuff ended and they went off the air with Alexa cowgirling Randy with the Fiend watching over her. So is Fiend Alexa's pimp? Is that what's going on? And so we've got Bryan versus Roman. The time was 9:57, I think, when that shit ended. So, and the show ended at 10:45. I think it might have been 8:57, and no, it was 8:57 and then 9:45. Apologies. But anyways, yeah, man, like it was just. It was a long match. And it was very good, man. It was one of those technical wrestling matches where there was really good psychology. It was the smaller guy who's more technical, trying to get an advantage over the bigger guy who's more powerful, but he's still technical. So you're trying to this and that. It was really, really good. So most of the match is just good stuff, whatever, until we get to the more story-oriented stuff, and then whatever. We get to near the end of the match, and there is a very contrived ref bump. I don't mind that they did a ref bump. Ref bumps are fine if they're going to contribute to advancing the story. That's fine, right? I mean, in my booking, I do them sometimes. The Judgment Day one should have been out, so I think there's a ref bump in my Judgment Day episode of my 2006 GM mode that came out now. I think there's been a ref bump on one of the SmackDowns for a Rene Dupree title match. If you're trying to advance a story, I don't mind the ref bump, fine. Just kind of make it make sense, because the way that they did it was Roman got hit and he was backing up, kind of losing balance, and then the ref's like, oh, here, I'm gonna prop you up by holding your back, I'm gonna stand here, give you a nice little massage, and then Bryan comes in for the knee or whatever, and then Roman moves, and then the ref gets hit, right? And then the ref takes the bump. Why would the ref be there making sure Roman is standing? He's not there to do that. He had no reason to do that within logic, right? And I understand they needed the ref bump, whatever. Just have it in like a corner. Just have something. Just have Roman in the corner. Bryan's doing his knees, right? That he does the knee and then he backflips, like back rolls down. He goes again, blah, 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 back and forth. The corner knees that Bryan does. Just have that happen. The ref's checking on Roman in between each one. Roman moves, pulls the ref into the corner. Boom, the ref eats that. There you go. You have your ref bump and it makes sense. The ref doesn't look out of place because he's there. They typically do check on people on the corner like that. Bada boom, bada bing. Roman physically pulls him in. It would make more sense than the ref being like, oh, hey, Roman, you need a back massage? You need a back massage, Roman? I'm going to keep you up here, buddy. You stay in the game, brother. He's like a coach in like a boxing movie fucking rubbing your shoulders, brother. He's the ref. He doesn't need to do that. It's a small thing. I'm just being an asshole about it and making it bigger than it is. But I didn't like how contrived it was. I don't mind that it happened. Like I said, the ref bump, I don't care if it happens, if it's there to advance something, which it obviously was. So I don't mind the ref bump happening. It's just the way that they did it, I didn't like it because it just didn't feel like the ref wasn't acting like they normally would. Anyways, the ref goes out. Roman hits a spear on Edge. Not on Edge. On Bryan. Edge gets in because he's a special guest enforcer. 1, 2, Bryan kicks out, so you're putting Bryan over pretty good there by kicking out of a spear. Granted, there's a little bit of delay with the count because Edge realizes the spear happens. He's like, oh shit, I gotta go in there and count, blah, blah, blah. He counts 2, and then him and Roman go back and forth, like yelling. He's like, oh, you're in here now, you're front row seat. He's like, hey, you worry about this. You worry about this in front of you, man. I'm doing my job. You do yours, whatever. And then, a little bit of time passes, and Bryan gets the yes lock in. As Bryan gets the yes lock in and Edge is on the ground seeing if Roman will tap, Jey Uso from off screen comes, super kicks Edge, then super kicks Bryan. Goes and gets a chair, goes to swing at, outside. He gets in. I think he stomps on Edge or something to get him out of the way. Then he goes to swing at Bryan, who ducks underneath, hits the ropes, big running knee to Jey, picks up the chair, beats the fuck out of Jey on the ground with the chair. And then Jey kind of rolls out of the ring, I think, and then he notices that Roman is getting up, and he sees Roman. He's like, okay, I'm gonna hit Roman with the chair. Fuck it. At this point, I thought that they were gonna have Edge see a chair shot, right, and then disqualify him, and then they would build the tension that way. They didn't end up doing that, which is fine. He swings the chair, Roman moves, but guess what? Edge was behind him. He hits Edge right on the shoulder with the chair. And then, you know what I mean? He gets hit with a Superman punch. Afterwards, Roman goes into the corner for the spear, but the spear gets reversed into a yes lock, which then, by the way, the yes lock from earlier, Bryan had it facing towards the hard cam, and then Roman was getting close to the ropes, and he kind of pushed off of the ropes and transitioned backwards into the middle of the ring, facing away from the hard cam. It was a really clean transition. Yes lock is in. Roman, as he's passing out very lightly, with his fingertips, kind of not whole hand, taps out to the yes lock. However, Roman does not lose the match because Edge hits Bryan with the chair while he's doing the yes lock. The yes lock gets broken. He hits Roman with the chair on the ground over the back, and then once again he hits Bryan on the chair. He yells, "This is mine," and then he leaves the ring all pissed off. New ref comes down. Roman slides himself over, puts his arm over Bryan. 1, 2, 3, retains his championship. The match quality, fantastic. Really good match. They got a lot of time. The psychology was there. The storytelling was there. Aside from the contrived ref bump, I'll look over it because the storytelling was there. Edge needed to be called on. There was, tension between both, just like there was going in. This is seemingly a heel turn for Edge. I'm sure that they're going to go full in on it eventually on SmackDown. Maybe this week, maybe next week. I don't really know, but we'll see. Jey getting involved, even though he wasn't supposed to, is fine. I like Roman barely tapping because it puts Bryan over. And again, You know what I mean? Roman doesn't lose the title. I don't think he should at all. I think, honestly, they might... Like, the way that they're booking Roman lately, right, I feel like is to make it so people try to get into the thought into their head, like, oh, maybe they're going to let Edge win the title, right? Which I think Roman should retain at Mania, and I think he will. We'll have to wait and see if that is correct, but it is what it is. So, I mean, I liked it. Again, the ref bump, I didn't like how they did it, but I'm fine with what they did. The storytelling at the end of the match with the finish was good. I liked it. I liked the main event a lot. That main event was great. In terms of what they're going to do for Mania now, they have to insert Bryan somehow. Obviously, in my predictions, I said that they might have Bryan and Edge on a SmackDown to get him in the match, with Bryan beating Edge. Obviously, people have said that they could have Edge and Bryan night one, and then Edge loses that, and then it's a triple threat match. The only problem I have with that, I think I responded in a comment to somebody as well with this, but not everybody will have seen that comment. So the only problem I have with that is that if Edge loses night one, you kind of have to give him the title win on the second night, because you can't have him lose 2 nights in a row on his big comeback. You know what I mean? If you have him lose on a SmackDown right now, and then a couple weeks pass, and then whatever, and then you, after Roman retains, at the next pay-per-view, you have Edge and Bryan again, and then Edge wins, and then he gets a singles match with Roman, and then Roman can win that as well, and then Cesaro can win it at SummerSlam. Please, for the love of everything good and holy, Vince McMahon, Cesaro wins the title at SummerSlam, please. Yeah, man, like, they got to get Bryan in there. I'm not sure how they'll do it, but they should, and it looks like they will. It looks like they're going to turn Edge full on heel, which, you know, heel Edge is better than face Edge. Hopefully Roman retains, and I think Roman tapping but not losing, and then losing to Kevin Owens 3 times but then still winning. You know what I mean? Like, effectively he lost those matches, but he still won. So it put both guys over. This match put both guys over. You know, it's good. So it's really good. I like the match in terms of psychology. I like the match in terms of the action, the storytelling of the match, and then the storytelling of the finish and everything. Really like the main event. So it was a strong end to the show. So, like, it started off kind of weak, and then it kind of picked up. So overall, I think maybe I'll give it a 7. I think maybe I'll give it a 7 out of 10, just because, like, that main event is like a 9 out of 10 main event, I think. You know what I mean? Or maybe like an 8.5 out of 10 main event, because I don't like 5 stars and shit like that. I don't really like the 5-star thing, because I feel like it's too little stars. But yeah, we like maybe an 8.5 or 9 out of 10 main event. You know what I mean? Just because the in-ring was so good, the storytelling was so good, blah, blah, blah. The Alexa and Fiend stuff I really liked. Not so much the cowgirl pin, because that was awkward. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad if that was me. I wouldn't be mad if I was Randy Orton. You know, you know what I'm saying? All right, horny hours. But fuck. Let's move on. Yeah, man. So you know, and then Shinsuke and Seth was good. Not as good as I thought, like I said, but good. Drew and Sheamus was fantastic. So really, really strong second half of the pay-per-view. Just the first half was so weird. So I think I'll go for a 7 out of 10 for my review of Fastlane. Once again, let me know what you guys thought of Fastlane down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? What is your rating out of 10? Do you agree with my 7 out of 10? Do you think it's higher? Do you think it's lower? Do you agree with the things I said about the matches, or do you disagree? Let me know all of that shit down in the comments below. I'd like to hear you guys' opinions. Really interesting to see a bunch of different opinions in wrestling. Like I said, if you want to join the Discord, link in the description. If you want to join, if you want to follow me on Twitter, a link in the description. Got to get in the obligatory sponsor me gimmick. Please sponsor me, Peace Tea. You know what I'm saying? Be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss an episode, because YouTube likes to zuck you, boy, and I'll put my videos in your sub boxes. So by pressing that nice old bell icon, you'll get a push notification anytime I do upload, and you'll never have to miss it. Check out the other shit I do on the channel. I do primarily gameplay stuff on the channel. Specifically, like I mentioned earlier, I have a 2006 GM mode where I book my own storylines and shit like that. So if you want to see how I'd like to book the wrestling, go check that out. I've got other stuff. I've got Battlegrounds, which is ended now. I've got UFC. I've got 2K14. I've got a bunch of shit. So go check that out if you want to. If you guys liked the review, please leave a like, subscribe, share it to all your friends, comment down below, all that good shit. And I'll see you guys next time.
We are number one.